I can't even begin to know who decided to advise this. Somebody who took a look at the career trajectory of Amber Heard and went, you know what? Doing one of these tell-all interviews right after you take a massive legal L, it's probably the best thing that you can do, but that's the way that Jonathan Majors wants to roll, and he thinks that that's going to be the best way to try to get back into the good graces of Hollywood. And it's like, no, like what are you doing? Especially even if the Hollywood Reporter is calling you out for just making a really boneheaded decision. Jonathan Majors makes high-risk, low-reward bet with GMA interview ahead of sentencing. Yeah, he doesn't even know if he's going to be going to jail, on probation, or anything in between. But no, I need to get my side of the story out. And it's like, bro, we looked at the evidence. I know what I believe when it comes to this stuff, and I think you got railroaded by some chick who cried in court, and yeah, probably should have taken the stand. And then at the same time, you also probably shouldn't have worried all that much about your career instead of just maintained your innocence. But oh well, no use crying over spilt milk. But that's kind of what he's doing here. Jonathan Majors is working to save his reputation and career in giving a January 8th interview declaring his innocence ahead of his sentencing, in a move that experts see as risky legally and professionally. The Creed 3 and former Marvel actor was convinced by a convicted by a jury of his peers in December on reckless assault in the third degree, a misdemeanor, and harassment in the second degree, which is a violation. Charges stem from an incident inside of a car on March 25th, in which Major's ex-partner Grace Jabbari testified that she saw him text on his phone that suggested he was cheating on her, and she grabbed it from him. Yeah, so she was the one committing the assault, but because she was spurging out and hit her head on the car, well, that's Jonathan's fault. Okay. She said the actor then injured her, including prying her finger from the phone that she was stealing, but instead of, like, it's so brain dead the way that his defense went and did this, okay? Not asserting that he has a right to defend his property under stand your ground laws in New York State. And why would the prosecution give away a freebie like that if the defense isn't going to bring it up? But yeah, he has every right to do that. And he tried to take the phone away from her and later threw her back into the car. Yeah, we all seen that. We've seen it all on footage, but trying to get her back in the car kind of precipitated the chase, but she doesn't want to make mention of that. Majors faces up to a year in prison. He won't do that now for these charges and has already suffered a staggering career fall as a result, with Marvel Studios firing him as the lead of their upcoming Avengers movie just hours after the verdict. Meanwhile, his would-be awards contender, Magazine Dreams, remains in limbo at Disney-owned studio Searchlight. Yeah, it'll end up getting the Sound of Freedom treatment, where it'll just get shelved for a while and then trying to just pass it off to somebody else in the time being. Major's talent agency, WME, still reps him, and his agent, Elena Ruspoli, was one of the witnesses the defense team brought in to testify on his behalf. At the time, Ruspoli said Majors called him daily, including on the morning of March 25th, when Majors tried to gain entrance to the locked bedroom area of his apartment. Jabbari, who was inside, testified that she did not hear Majors trying to enter. Of course, and then the jury just decided to eat that all up. Because a woman's tears, they're better than, tangible evidence. Ruspoli testified that Majors sounded beyond concerned. Majors interviewed with ABC's Good Morning America corporate sibling, the Disney studio, that dropped the actor. That's kind of interesting to point out. Didn't connect the dots there, but yeah, that's strange. Marks the first time he has spoken out since his conviction in December, and we actually have the clips on display with this one. We got a few of them right here, and he's sitting down with Kristen Welker. Very interesting. Jonathan Majors is speaking out for the first time since his conviction in a domestic violence trial in an interview with ABC News. But yeah, let's take a look at some of these clips. I want to see what's going on here.
Gravity of the situation. A situation that I, in many ways, put myself in.
The actor spoke exclusively with ABC News for the first time after being convicted in late December for harassment and misdemeanor reckless assault in the third degree, which could carry a penalty of up to a year behind bars.
I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. It's a 6-minute long clip, and, well, everybody's going to talk very laboriously, so.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk now?
I felt like it was time. A lot has happened in my personal life, in my career, in the culture. It's about responsibility and
exactly. Right now, I'm fighting for my fucking life.
Coming forward and being brave and giving my part of the story.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shocked.
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked. and afraid. And I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence.
Yeah, exactly. The lack of prosecution's evidence. Oh no, he was manipulative in text messages. Okay, well, how does that pertain to the struggle that happened on the night of the 25th? Don't worry about that. He said things about, you know, he wanted a good woman.
Let alone our evidence. How is it possible?
But after only hours of deliberation, a jury of his peers agreed with prosecutors that he did physically injure his then girlfriend Grace Jabbari in an incident last March.
What happened exactly? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. She unconscious?
That 911 call from Majors came hours after an argument broke out with Jabbari in the backseat
are
of
they
an
going to
SUV
show?
when Majors received a text from another woman saying, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you." Jabbari testified.
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably a little bit more lascivious than that, but no. Remember, it's like, okay, this goofy bitch is getting outside the vehicle, and John just wants to get home. It's like, no, get your ass back in the car. And then she eventually wiggles her way out, steals his phone, and then just hightails it down the street. And it's like, the fuck is going on?
Testified that when she grabbed the phone, Majors tried to get it back, fracturing her finger and giving her a cut behind her ear.
She says inside the car, you hit her in the face, twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah, that did not happen.
How
No.
did those injuries come about?
Yeah, and even the driver said that, and it's like, no, it didn't happen at all. Okay, the finger, yeah, okay, that at least shows some kind of an injury, and then the cut behind the ear, you obviously seen her donk her head on the top of the frame of the vehicle, and the finger, yeah, he's trying to get his phone back, and if she's just gripping on it, well, yeah, of course, that'll end up happening there, but that is mutual combat right there, okay? Like, he's a much larger guy than she is. If he wanted to cause some physical damage, he definitely could have, but let's hear this.
I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it.
But you're confident you didn't
I have
cause
no
them.
question.
Surveillance video shows Majors getting out of the car, followed by Jabbari, whom he then puts back inside the vehicle. What happens next is what the defense remains focused on. Majors runs off, and Jabbari chases after him.
If you watch those videos, and you reverse that, and you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street, screaming and crying,
Don't need to
that
bring
man's going
race
to be
into
shot
it.
and killed in the streets of New York City.
Majors' defense team shared these photos, which
Oh,
he says
shit.
show the injuries he received that night, which were deemed inadmissible
Okay.
in court.
How were you injured?
My injuries were, I had a scratch on my hand, from clawing for the phone, and I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard, I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my cheek from pressure, and that bled overnight.
But prosecutors say Majors was the aggressor. District Attorney Alvin Bragg says the evidence presented throughout this trial.
Yo, that fat piece of shit was on this case? What the fuck? The evidence presented throughout this trial includes a cycle of psychological and emotional damage. Oh my god, the only kind of emotional damage you suffer is when you go into a Dunkin' Donuts and they're all out of your favorite Boston cream, you fat fuck.
Illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse. In court, prosecutors pointed to a previous argument during which he knocked a candle to the floor.
I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. That's not something I would want my child to do. And I did that. I absolutely did that. And felt terrible about it.
The prosecution also played audio Jabbari had recorded earlier in the relationship where Majors encouraged her to act more like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama.
I'm a great man. A great man. I'm doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. The woman that supports me needs to be a great woman.
There are some who question.
Yeah, okay, so that's like an out of context fight, obviously, and the fact that she was recording him without his knowledge, that's very interesting as well. It's like there were many hallmarks when we were going over this in a lot more serious detail. You could definitely see that, well, he was losing frame, okay? Like, that's one of those things. Okay, you want a good girlfriend. You want a great chick to stand behind you as you're supposedly a great man, okay? Think of yourself whatever you will. The public will make up their own decision, but that's one of those things where you want to demonstrate your greatness, which obviously you had the world at your fingertips, okay? For even the desecrated state that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is currently in, you were still helming that thing, and it was still making, outside of a couple of very obvious drop-offs, it was still making money. It was still the powerhouse. It was still in popular culture, and now, well, instead of just, putting all of that out there for bear and for her to either, ship up or shape out, or shape up or ship out, that's the proper way, you had to vocalize that. It's not a good look, for sure. Even though he's not really getting all that emotional with his language right there, like he's kind of keeping a fairly even keel. It's gonna sound crazy to people who don't understand that that's what most guys want in general.
As you're probably well aware that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama?
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be. These great men, Martin, President Obama, and trying to give a reference point to that. One of the things I also say is, like, I need her, in that case Grace, to make the same sacrifices that I am making.
In a statement to ABC News, an attorney for Jabbari said in part, "It is not at all surprising that Mr. Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions," adding, "The timing of these new statements demonstrates a clear lack of remorse for his actions."
Oh my God.
Do you feel you're not responsible for her injuries at all?
I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship. I shouldn't have been in the relationship. If I'm not in the car, none of this is happening. If I leave the relationship, none of this is happening.
Good deflection on that question, by the way. Are you responsible for any of those injuries? Shouldn't have been in the car. It doesn't quite answer. It kind of answered, but then wait, what? No, okay. Say I was defending my property. It was well within my rights. If I wanted to hit her, I would have hit. No. You don't say that. You would just simply say our injuries were kind of one for one. I got a gash on my face, and I got a scrape on my arm, and what? Did a bruise on her finger. Oh no, terrible. And a cut on her ear, and then caused a gigantic scene of us running down the street. Don't you know I'm a great man? I can't be seen running down the street at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Who the hell do you think I am? I'm not the Flash. I'm Kang the goddamn Conqueror.
If I'm man enough or brave enough to say, I want to see somebody else, or I'm done now, I'm not in that car. We're not here. I'm responsible for those things.
But none of her injuries.
I can't say that. None of her injuries.
Yo, fair enough, but there's a couple of other clips here. This clip right here is talking about his new chick, Megan Good. And the whole comparison to Coretta Scott King pops up again, and I've seen a couple of different stories that are circulating right now where MLK's grandkids are like, you better keep her name out your mouth, okay, she's not a prop to be used, but it's like, he's kind of using her in the context of being like a really good woman, so wouldn't you kind of like that comparison? Anyways, it's like everybody wants to distance himself from Jonathan Majors, including the truth behind this.
Megan, make sure it's not there anymore.
Through it all, Majors' new girlfriend, actress Megan Good, has remained by his side, even present for our interview.
How would you describe your relationship?
Well, she's an angel. She's held me down like...
Oh, she's even there.
Like a Coretta, I'm so blessed to have her, The relationship is still fresh, but, I think I found her. That Megan, make sure it's not there.
That's kind of nice, I guess. And to be fair, when you had any of those inklings with the other chick, with Grace out there, you should have probably, I don't know, left her in the dust, but you live and you learn, and, well, you lose your career, and that's what he's talking about here with this final clip. You think you're ever going to work in Hollywood again? Well, it's interesting, given the fact that even though Disney did kick you directly to the curb or right after the verdict was read, you're still on one of their affiliated channels, okay? Like, you haven't been totally and completely blackballed yet. You can't always play that black card, which you're playing really strong, so let's see.
You'll ever work in Hollywood again?
Yeah, I do. I pray I do. But it's God's plan and God's timing.
For those who say, look, he's convicted at this point, what would you say? I mean, do you deserve a second chance?
Well, I think I do. I hope other people think that.
You'll ever work?
Well, yeah, of course, everybody deserves a second chance, but very few people actually end up getting that second chance. But like the reporter was talking about right there, okay, high risk, low reward bet with the Good Morning America interview. Yeah, he articulated himself incredibly well. He went over the facts the way that he's seen them, but to be honest, everybody's made up their mind. Like, the court rendered their verdict as goofy as I think that it is. Is anybody going to listen to him? No. It's basically just going to be another one of those situations where this story ends up getting black-holed until some new evidence comes to light, and maybe after a certain amount of time he can win his way and just claw his way back up into the good graces. But we'll have to see. Outside of everybody dunking on him for, constantly bringing up Coretta Scott King, it's not really doing very much for his public perception. But we know the truth. And it'll just take the public once again just a little while to come around to it. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.